Hi everyone, I'm Diane Demetre, Master Mindset Mentor and Consciousness Coach, and I'm on a mission to shift one mind at a time, one business at a time to a master mindset. Welcome to Power Chat. Each week I'll be sharing some of the insights, shortcuts and strategies that I've developed over the past 30 years to help you manifest more health, wealth, happiness, success and fulfillment and love in your life. Feel free to comment and ask questions as we go, and I'll do my best to get to them at the end. I'm here to help, so please drop a hello if you're here and let's get started. And remember to click the share button so your friends can benefit from this masterclass and learn how to master their mindset and to live lives that matter as well. Right, let's begin, shall we? This is episode 12 and it's called Plug In with Compassion. So, Einstein said, everything is energy. And we really know that at an intrinsic level. We know that everything is energy. The whole universe is energy. Everything is energy. And either all is or it all isn't, which means we must be energy too. We're energy just like the table is, or the house is, or the chair is, or the car is, or our partner is, or our kids are. We are all energy. And what makes us different is that we all vibrate at different frequencies. We're all resonating at different frequencies all the time. And that's what gives us a discernible presence that's different to each other. It's our vibrational resonance. We all know that if we're having a tough day and we're sinking into anger and frustration and despair and guilt and shame, if we're dropping into those toxic emotions, we feel very heavy, our energy feels down, we feel lethargic and apathetic, we don't want to get up, we don't want to move. Those toxic emotions will actually draw down our energy. Whereas if we're having the opposite day, where we're resonating at the other end of the scale, where we're filled with optimism and hope and joy and love and faith and compassion, we're feeling like we can take on the world, that nothing is too hard. And that's what energy is all about. It's about the vibration. And so whatever we vibrate at, whatever frequency we're vibrating at, is the world that we're going to create around us. So the key here is we must vibrate at our highest frequency possible all the time. That's our choice. And we must make that choice consciously. And it's a choice that's unpolluted by criticism and blame and judgment and toxic emotions. And that's what energetic being is all about. Now, I read recently some research on, which is really interesting, on the pineal gland. It's the little gland that's tucked back in the brain. And up until now, we haven't really known what it was all about. But it was there. And science now is showing that, in fact, they think that that is the physical seat of superconsciousness, of bliss consciousness. Now, isn't that exciting? So at last, everything I've been saying for years is coming together, and that science and spirituality are not mutually exclusive. The mystics have been talking for years about a bliss consciousness, a higher consciousness. And that's what they think now could be the seat of it in our physical form, is the pineal gland. Now, we're going to come back to that a little bit later, because that is so liberating when it comes to each of us having the opportunity to elevate our energetic resonance to the higher levels, the higher frequencies, those cleaner frequencies of love, joy, peace, enlightenment, and compassion. And tonight's episode is all about compassion. Now, that's a word that we hear often, but I looked around today for the very best definition I could find of compassion. And this is the one I liked most of all. Compassion is a conscious response, not an automatic response. And I think that's important to consider. Yes, compassion is a conscious response to another person's situation where we feel concerned and empathetic for them, especially if we perceive their situation as serious, unjust, and relatable. One more time. Compassion is a conscious choice to another person's situation where we feel concerned and empathetic for them, especially if we perceive their situation as serious, unjust, and relatable. So I'm sure you've all had this experience where you've been walking down the street and there's been a homeless person there. For some of us who practice compassion, we will actually have that response. We won't just feel empathetic, we will feel concerned because we are perceiving that person's situation as serious, possibly unjust, and most definitely relatable. Many times our voice in our head may say, but for the grace of God, there go I. And our heart goes out to them. That is the experience and the feeling of compassion. Other times, other people who don't practice compassion just walk by and go, yeah, well, it serves them right. They probably did something to deserve that. And they ignore them. Or they look away. They look away out of fear and shame because they don't know how to respond. So that is the experience and the feeling of compassion for another. Then there is self-compassion. And self-compassion involves self-kindness and not self-judgment. Most people, in fact, find it easier to have compassion for another than they do for themselves. And why is that? That's because the ego has us trapped in a low energetic frequency, whispering away to us, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. And we ruminate over our own faults and our mistakes and our inadequacies in such a way that it erodes all sense of ourself, of the more of who we are. And of course, if we follow the natural progression of that energy, it leads to anxiety, it leads to apathy, and it leads to depression. So, some studies have been done on compassion. In 2014, researchers reported several studies, in fact, in which compassion and gratitude, which we've already done, and we know the power of gratitude, were predictors of increased well-being. Not only does showing compassion for others make us feel better about ourselves, but self-compassion also serves as an important function for well-being. So it's two ways. Unfortunately, we all too often criticize ourselves for our mistakes that we would readily forgive in others many times if we think about it. Yet when we look beyond our flaws and we don't put our energy there and treat ourselves with forgiveness and kindness, we increase our psychological health and well-being. Because you cannot separate the mind from the body. Whatever is going on in the mind is affecting the body and in turn affecting our reality. Why? Because everything is energy. It's very simple, except we make it far too complex. So, in one study, they investigated the impact of compassion meditation. Hopefully you've all been doing your meditation since that particular masterclass and you're getting into the swing of it a little bit more. The participants attended twice weekly, 50-minute compassion meditations for a total of 6 weeks, as well as doing the meditations at home. Interesting results. The researchers found that compassion meditation participation was associated with innate immune responses to psychosocial stresses and reduced stress symptoms. That's what the study showed. 6 weeks of doing compassion meditations made that sort of shift in the body. Neurochemically, it made that sort of shift in the body. So compassion increases our physiological immunity to the external stresses in our life, and it reduces our risk of depression. So why aren't we all doing it? Why aren't we teaching our kids to do this? That's another story. Don't get me on that soapbox. But this is so important. At this point in time, we're all running around wanting physical immunity, but it's all about our psychological immunity, because the moment we have psychological immunity, the rest will follow. I love this quote, you probably know it. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Anybody know who said it? One of the most compassionate people on the planet, the Dalai Lama. And his words are instructive because the rewards of practicing compassion work both ways. He understands that there are benefits to both the giver and the recipient. Today, when I was putting this masterclass together, it beamed into me as to two people who are no longer incarnated in human form, who were also great demonstrators of compassion. There was the nun and missionary, Mother Teresa. What an amazing woman who dedicated her entire life to helping the dying and the destitute on the streets of Calcutta. She was truly the demonstration of compassion. And then there was one other who is no longer with us, and that's Princess Diana, the people's princess. I always remember her wonderful sense of compassion, particularly because she was such a public figure, but particularly when she walked into the hospital wards with the AIDS patients way back in the late 80s, early 90s, and there was such a dreadful worldview on AIDS patients. And she went up and she sat on the bed and she held their hand. And in that one moment, in that one demonstration of compassion, she changed the worldview. They were no longer seen as outcasts and lepers and dirty. It was just an amazing demonstration of compassion. And I often wonder if the outpouring of grief at her death was not also a feeling that everybody was connected to her through this great plug-in cable that we come with. And we all felt such a sense of disconnect when she left the planet, that it was just an outpouring of grief. And I'm sure for the people who are here, you would all remember that. It was just amazing. And I wonder if that's not because we lost somebody with great compassion. Tracy picked that it was the Dalai Lama. Of course, absolutely. And also Tracy's mentioned Audrey Hepburn as a great compassionate person. So compassion touches us, it touches our soul, and it's something that we remember, and we can actually bring back that feeling. I mean, if you think about Princess Diana or Audrey Hepburn or Mother Teresa or somebody that you know that has connected with you on that energy of compassion, you can still bring that energy up within you, and that is healing. That is absolutely healing. And what it really is, it's a revealing of your truth, of who you truly are on an energetic level. So the researchers studied through this time from 2014 and so forth, and they put together 5 ways, in fact, that they said that we could be more compassionate. 5 ways in which we could be more compassionate. The first way is to be altruistic, and that means going beyond your current or our current comfort zones and selflessly helping other individuals or engaging in service, some sort of service work, and as a way of helping people and animals and communities. It's also really, really good for teenagers, for young people, for anybody who is struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts, is to practice compassion and to go out and to serve others who are less fortunate. It'll snap you out of depression in a flash. So go beyond your current comfort zones. Help somebody else. Actually work and serve other people, because when we serve others, we vibrate at a higher frequency, and we not only energize ourselves, but we energize the other. One of the things we talked about last week is risk and daring to be more. And I read an article recently about feedback from homeless people. And there's one person said that the greatest gift they ever got when they were living on the street was not the money, but was by somebody who sat down and had a conversation with them and literally cared about how they felt. And so that's what we can do by being altruistic. We can sit down, we can have conversations with people. They don't have to be the homeless, they can be anybody, but show compassion, practice compassion, be concerned, ask, and give of yourself to somebody else. The second point is obviously to avoid judgment. We have no idea how that person got to where they are in their life. We don't know the factors that led them there, so we must avoid judging them. It is it's such a toxic emotion, and so if we want to practice more compassion, we must avoid judgment at all times. We need to energetically connect to the other people in need, and we have to know at all times that we are one consciousness, that that person there doing it tough is no different to you or I. It's just that they've made different choices. And so that's how we avoid judgment, by seeing them as one and removing ourselves from that low resonance of toxic emotions and judgment. The third point, of course, is to practice gratitude, as we've already done in a previous masterclass. Appreciating all the good things in our lives fosters a sense of compassion for the less fortunate. Studies have shown that gratitude, in fact, neurologically and neurochemically changes our bodies, so it's no surprise that gratitude and compassion go hand in hand. Okay? You can't sort of have one without the other. They go hand in hand, and they're very powerful energies. The fourth point is to function with faith. We need to develop an identity, a self-identity, that is unaffected by our limited human perspective. Okay? We must give up that identity that we are just random bodies on a planet that's spinning around. We have to function with faith, a faith in ourselves as being more than who we are currently demonstrating. And we must also apply that to others. Function with a faith, whatever that is to you. You need to find it, you need to know it, you need to believe it, and know that you are more than you're currently demonstrating. A faith that enhances our wisdom, our kindness, our compassion, and ultimately that's the faith that will lead us to love and enlightenment. And then the last one, of course, is to be kind to ourselves. We need to do that a little bit more. This month is Mental Health Month, and we need to be more kind to ourselves. We hear about it, we hear about self-care, but yeah, we tend to get caught in our old habits and not do a lot of it. So sometimes we are our own worst enemies. Remember that we're all a work in progress. We're all a work in progress, and ongoing worry and stress and self-loathing serves no benefit to us or anyone around us, because they'll pick up on that energy. Why? Because we're all plug-in ready, because we're all vibrating at frequencies that we are picking up. So it's really important to practice some kindness to ourselves and to shift our focus away from all that self-criticism and not feeling good enough, and focus on the fabulous future that we desire and deserve. So Tracy says, and when we catch ourselves being self-judgmental, yes, practice self-compassion, of course. So that's part of the process. It's just being conscious and catching little things. When you catch the glimpse, stop, look at it, be mindful and go, let's reverse that, let's reverse that, let's reverse that. Why? Because it's fabulous for your energy and it's fabulous for everybody else around you. So the next time you want to berate another driver, because we could all do with a bit more compassion on the roads, okay? Or when somebody berates you, don't get upset back. Just flick them a smile. Don't flick them the bird, flick them a smile. Really does their head in, and then they go, oh, it's very hard to be angry at somebody who is genuinely smiling, not smirking, genuinely smiling. Or the next time you want to criticize a junkie for their habit, okay, careful on that one. Or if you're promoting sibling rivalry in your family, okay, stop and practice compassion. Few deep breaths. Compassion, right? Compassion. Don't call the other one, oh, well, you can't do it because you're not as smart as your brother. No, no, no. Practice some compassion. There was one statement I came across many years ago at the beginning of my conscious journey, and it is, everybody is doing the best they can with the information they have. That's why I encourage you to share these masterclasses so other people can glean more information so they can do better as well. Everyone is doing the best that they can with the information they have. Compassion. Practice compassion for others and practice self-compassion with yourself with the same level of kindness and willingness, because you're doing the best you can every moment, and the next moment you will do better. In a compassion-based society, we would not have historical atrocities such as genocide, war, and acts of terrorism. That's simple, folks. That's simple. And it is a wonderful vision. It's a wonderful vision. It's the same vision that John Lennon sang in one of my favorite songs, Imagine. So when we practice compassion, we are energetically creating a new life, a new family, a new community, a new country, and a new world. Don't ever think that you don't make a difference. You are making a difference energetically every moment. Don't give up, don't give up. Oh, it's the ego wants to tell us, oh, forget it, forget it, forget it, it's not going to happen. Don't give up. Practice compassion, energetically elevate your frequencies. So I have an exercise for you this week that I hope you will practice. Let's practice a compassion meditation. So when you go into meditation this week, I'd like you to think about your pineal gland. If you don't know where it is, you can find it on Google and you can print it out and you can put it with you when you meditate. And you go, oh, there's the little sucker right there. And as you go into meditation, I want you to feel that it's lighting up. Just light it up, okay? You don't have to be accurate, just light it up. And then I want you to place somebody in front of you that you'd like to practice compassion with. And have that person, visualize that person. And then I want you to have a big golden cable coming out from your heart, connecting to them. And that's your vision. That's your visualization. And as you sit there and your pineal gland is lighting up, I want you to say, may you be free of suffering. May you have joy and peace. May you experience love and enlightenment. And hold that visualization and say those phrases to them and feel that connection, that compassion, that energy lighting up. And then I want you to do the same with yourself and bring that connection back to you and say the same to yourself. May I be free of suffering. May I have joy and peace. May I experience love and enlightenment. Now remember what the research has found, that by doing twice weekly 50-minute compassion meditations and the same at home in 6 weeks, neurochemical changes had happened in the study groups' bodies that shifted and started psychological immunity and reduced all risk of depression. We have at our disposal unlimited power, unlimited energy, and now we have unlimited resources. And we have the opportunity to go within and access our inner resources like never before. We are on the cusp of one of the biggest shifts in human consciousness this planet has ever seen. Don't sit in the stalls. Don't sit back there and wait for it. Get up to the front, get right up to the front of the line and go, I am going to engage, empower, and energize my life like never before, because I want to ride the wave. I don't want to miss out on the wave. I want to ride that wave in. And practice, yes, it's going to take commitment. Yes, it's going to take discipline and persistence. But that's what life is about. That's what we came here. We came here to play in this great big game of life and to get in there and to be more. And that's why I say all the time, dare to be more, to do more of what matters so we can have more of what counts. So plug in with compassion this week. If you're after more, there are links with this masterclass where you can read more with my book on Master Mindset, 21 Transformative Ways to Master Your Mind in These Uncertain Times. You can actually find out more on my website, and you can get more with my free Mindset Mastery Assessment. So I hope you've enjoyed tonight. I'm just going to read some of the comments. Yes, Tracy saying all acts of loving kindness, no matter how small, have a ripple effect. Yes, as I've always said, when we deposit compassion and love and all of those high frequencies into the universal bank, none of it is wasted. It does have a ripple effect, always. So this week, practice your compassion meditation. I'd love to hear about how it goes for you. So jump onto the Master Mindset Facebook page and drop in some comments about how you're going, what the experience was, what it felt like. And remember, life is about the experience. It's not about the intellectualization. It's about feeling the energy. So have a great week this week. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and I will see you same time next week. Bye for now, everyone.